I think I might owe the Disney live-action remakes an apology after seeing an animated remake of a live-action classic. Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank, which was originally titled Blazing Samurai, is, what apparently some people didn't know, is an animated, child-friendly remake of Blazing Saddles. And if you think that sounds incredibly stupid, you're absolutely right. The original... Okay, so not only is the original title Blazing Samurai, not only does that make more sense, considering there are multiple references to the term Blazing Samurai in this movie, title's just stupid. Paws of Fury, like, what the and putting aside the stupid title, what idiot thought remaking a hard R... It isn't even that hard of an R, it's like the worst thing in it is that it has the N-word. But it's used to make a point, it's not used just for funsies. And, like, I don't even think there's a single F-bomb in that movie. So it's technically a hard R, but not really. Who thought remaking that into an animated movie with animals was a good idea? Like, it's not like this clearly had Mel Brooks' approval on it, because he was an executive producer and plays a character within the movie. So this was clearly made with his blessing. But this just seems like a bad idea from the start, and the trailer, holy shit, the trailer was probably one of the most unfunny trailers I've ever seen in my life. Every joke had me literally smacking my head in frustration. And I'm not even joking. When I was watching the trailer, I physically smacked my head like this at every joke. They were so painfully bad. I assumed this was going to be an aggressively awful movie. It's far too bland to be aggressively awful. Now, don't get me wrong, this movie's terrible. It's utterly terrible. But it's way too boring and bland for me to rage at it. I was hoping this would be a big rage review, like it'd be funny or something. But watching the movie, I just felt nothing. I had no emotions watching this movie at all. I sat there in a zombified state just waiting for the movie to end. Because the jokes aren't even, like, aggressively head smack worthy like they looked like they would be in the trailer. They just left me empty. Not a single one made me laugh. And it even has some Mel Brooks style jokes. He didn't write this movie, but it clearly has his style all over it. Which makes sense because it's a remake of his film. But they don't work in animation, I guess. Because there's several jokes about how they say that the movie's 85 minutes long. Not only is that not true, because without credits the movie's about 82 minutes. So either some last-minute edits went in to pad the movie's running time a few minutes, or the people who made this movie are too stupid to know how many minutes are in an hour. Either way, we're in trouble. So, what was my point? Oh yeah, so this has some of his unique style. Like, there's even a point where there's kind of like, it turns into like a split screen, so they're able to get to a different location like that, and there's even like a fake movie theater, and people like run out when the people like actually get through. Kind of like the joke in Spaceballs where he accidentally kills one of the crew, where Darth Helmet accidentally kills one of the crew members with his with the Schwartz ring. Again, in live action, that would have been funny, but in animation, it just doesn't seem to work. I don't know why. And I guess I'll get into the voice acting. Michael Cera is incredibly annoying in this. I don't know if it's just his voice or if it's his dialogue or a combination thereof, but oh my god, he got on my nerves. It was inspired casting to have George Takei play a brainless oaf. So there's that. Ricky Gervais plays the villain, and he's trying. I do like Ricky Gervais because I just love how he doesn't give a shit about political correctness. Like, Like, when comedians don't care about political correctness, that's when I like their stuff. That's why I like watching Jeff Dunham, because he doesn't give a shit if what he's saying is offensive or not, because it's funny. Like, the only joke that is offensive is one that is not funny. That's the only kind. And so pretty much every joke in this movie is offensive because it's not funny, but it's not even, like, offensive jokes. And, like, Gervais, he tries, but he's given literally nothing to work with. His dialogue is atrocious, his jokes aren't funny, his plan is the exact same as the original. Speaking of that, there are a lot of references to the original. Like, there's a point where, like, when someone first sees the sheriff coming in, there's, like, a bell that goes off before they can say what it is. Like, in this one, they just replace the N-word with the word dog in this one, but it's the same thing. There's a bell that goes off before they can hear what it is. So, and again, it's just not funny because, much like probably a lot of the animals, the jokes are neutered because it's for kids. Sam Jackson does fine, I guess, as the mentor. I saw his interview, like, there was, like, interviews and stuff, or, like, promotional material that's so fucking awkward to watch, and especially one with Samuel L. Jackson that was so uncomfortable to watch. It was weird. Apparently Gabriel Iglesias was in this. I couldn't tell you who he plays, because I didn't recognize his voice. I know he's, like, the master of... I know he does a lot of different voices and stuff, but I didn't recognize him anywhere. Michelle Yeoh, I don't know how to say her name, is in this. She has, like, 10 lines. And the very concept of this movie is just dumb. Like, especially when it comes to stuff like his training. Like, the villain does have a decent plan. Like, when he's training everything, they send in, like, this big cat. Like, yeah, that's similar to the original. I don't remember what they call the cat in this movie, but they send him in. Not only does the dog not actually defeat him, like the sheriff did in Blazing Saddles, but because the mentor actually is the one who really takes him out, he just doesn't notice. But not only that, the villain does have this kind of plan of where he takes him out on the town for the night, and something I do have to mention about that, they play Gangnam Style. Kill me. And while they're doing that, he sends people to go raid the village while their samurai's out having fun. That's a decent idea for the villain to have. That's actually pretty smart. But then at the end, when he eventually comes back after they kick him out, he comes back, all of a sudden he's this great samurai. Like, where did this come from? He was incompetent throughout the entire film, even throughout his training, then all of a sudden he's a samurai master during the final fight. I don't know what that was. It's like, this isn't how you write a character. This isn't how you write a movie. The animation's not terrible, but it looks pretty cheap. Like, it's not, like, Netflix level bad. Like, Secret Magic Control... It kind of looks like Secret Magic Control Agency a bit. It has a... Like, it's... I honestly say Secret Magic Control Agency was better, because at least it had some clever moments to it. There's nothing clever about this movie. It's just dumb. And even Mel Brooks can't make me laugh, and that's a crime. Which makes sense, because he didn't write this movie, but still... Oh my god, is there any... The action sequences aren't especially enticing to watch, they're just boring. Like, they're not quite as dull as Green Lantern Beware My Power, but... It's still not engaging. Nothing about this movie is engaging, that's the problem. The final battle takes place on a giant emerald toilet. Need I say more? This movie's just dumb as hell. I don't know why this was made. And apparently it's been getting delays for like 5 years. Clearly didn't pay off. This movie bombed at the box office, and thank God. This movie didn't have that high of a budget, but it's made, like, I don't know, like $20 million, if even, after several weeks. And even opening weekend, I think it opened to, like, number 6 or something, because it was, like, the top 5 were still Thor, Minions, Top Gun, probably The Black Phone, Elvis, one of those. So, yeah, it couldn't even make top 5 its opening weekend. That's how little people cared about this movie. And all the delays ended up being a waste of time. The marketing was terrible, so I don't blame people for not even... I guarantee a lot of people don't even know this movie exists. And much less knowing that it's a remake of Blazing Saddles, but... honestly, whether or not you know that going in, it's a terrible movie. I guess little kids will probably like this movie, but if you're an adult, skip the hell out of this movie. Oh my god. I'm giving Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank, an F. Fs are mainly used for when a movie makes me either really, really angry, or gives me just absolutely nothing. Like, Green Lantern didn't give me a ton, but at least it gave me, like, a comparison that I could make between that and the 2011 movie, which one's worse. There's no contest. Blazing Saddles is an awesome movie. This movie sucks. There's, like, nothing here for me to latch onto, so that's why it gets the F. So thank you guys so much for watching, and stay away from this movie. Just go watch Blazing Saddles instead.